Hello, and welcome to another episode of Between Two Pints. I'm your host, Rob, and with me today is Shaun Lang, an incredibly talented editor and writer. Cheers. Now, Shaun, I've been blessed to have your help on some of my indie, very humble projects, The Imaginaries, Order of the Black Eyes.
Love that one.
Yeah, and you did to people who look for an editor, it's like an exhausting day of shooting. I hand you over the footage, and then you just give me a magical present in a few days or a week.
The footage was amazing. I mean, it looked amazing. The actors were all on point.
So you are a professional editor. Now, I've been editing for 10 or 15 years in the corporate world and no budget friend YouTube area, but you are a professional editor who edits movies on Avid.
Yeah. Well, I was, I was very fortunate. I was an assistant for a long time, and how I actually got into the editor's chair was while I was an assistant, we worked together on Imaginaries and Yannick's movie Blood Only and stuff like that. I did side things. So I always expressed an interest of wanting to move up. And one editor I collaborated with a lot was Tony Dean Smith, and there's this one movie that he was editing on, Dangerous Game, but for various reasons I can't go into, he wasn't going to be available during the entire shoot for the assembly. So he asked me to sort of take on more responsibilities on there, and he said, "Yeah, if you do this, you'll get an additional editor credit." And I was like, "Oh, hey, great! That could be useful." And so came on board that. But this was late 2021, and he ended up getting COVID during that. He was kind of wiped out for the last third of the assembly, and I ended up taking on more of it than I normally would. He was very pleased with my work, and bless him, he advocated for me to get a full editor credit alongside him.
That's awesome.
Which was amazing, and I'll be forever grateful to him for that.
You worked with him recently, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're getting to that. So, but what happened then was he'd always wanted to move up to directing. He'd already directed some features and some MLWs by that point. And with the same producer that did Dangerous Game, brought him on as director for Mercy, which is a sweet action film. It was basically Die Hard in a hospital. They shot out at Riverview, and because he was moving up to the director's chair, he advocated for me to be editor, and he had to pull some strings. That took some convincing, but the producer was like, "All right, if we can pay him the same as an assistant, he can."
Ouch. Oh.
Well, okay, roughly the same.
Yeah,
that was a slight increase, but yeah, it was rock bottom because it was a trial, right? It's
it was his chance as director.
and basically the deal was okay, we'll bring this kid on, but if he screws up, then Tony's an editor, he can save the day. But made it all the way through that, and I was fortunate enough to roll into some stuff at some MLWs over at Real One, and I've been editing consistently since 2022. My last assisting gig was that spring, so
that's incredible.
It's been great, and I'm still working with Tony now. And there's the current movie we're working on. I can talk a little bit about it because Deadline's done a press release. It's called The Highest Stakes. It's a supernatural thriller set in New Orleans, but shot in Bulgaria.
So let's pump that's incredible. Supernatural. I'm already incredibly interested and excited, as that was the name of one of my favorite series. But so what can you tell us what the supernatural parts are? Are we gonna get in trouble?
I might get in trouble.
Is it ghosts or monsters or demons? Come on, give me a hint.
It's closer to the demons.
Okay,
let's say that.
Okay,
it's closer to
New Orleans. So I'm guessing somebody using magic or something, but you don't have to.
There's some dark magic shit going on.
As long as it's not all a dream.
This shit. Okay. This shit's for real.
Because I hate that. I mean, you as a writer, you must hate that too. That's the ultimate cop out.
It's a huge cop out. It's a huge cop out. I've thrown stuff at the screen when they do that. Unless I'm not talking about if it's if they have a bad dream in the middle of the movie and it's okay. Yeah. You could do it once in a
jump
while.
Scare. A jump scare is fine.
Oh, there was a series that was really bad for that. Based on a true story. It's on Peacock or something, but. Not to spoil nothing, but they abused that trope. They kept having oh shit, that just happened, and then it's oh, never mind, it was a dream. And it's fuck you guys.
Cut to commercial.
You could do that once or twice, but you start doing it 7 or 8 times, and I don't even want to see the second season anymore because they've they've lost me.
That's valid. No, there's a few movies. I think there was one that was cool. That was like, it was like a World War II movie. It seemed, and there was all this crazy shit happening. In the end, you find out that they're all like actually like modern day soldiers who were in comas together for something. And at least that made like, it was like they were experimenting on something to help people out of comas. But like, I think that was the only time I have seen a It's a Dream thing that I didn't want to throw something at my screen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, granted, there's some twists or creative things you can do with it, but.
So editing a supernatural thriller, was it supernatural thriller?
It's a supernatural thriller with a comic edge.
Comic edge. Now, is that like light quips or like slapstick comedy?
No, it's kind of some quips, you know, some sort of winking, sort of winking at the screen, like, oh hey, is it this fucked up? What's happening here?
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, I've lived in a world with been in enough fucked up situations to know that like people actually do say funny things when really messed up stuff happens, because it's a great way of like dealing with the wow, that was really messed up.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and there's some actual names in this one, like Seth Green's our main.
Wow, really?
Guy. Yep.
Oh, I love Seth Green.
Yeah, and he's been announced and everything, so I can say that. But yeah, it's like him, Kevin Dillon from Entourage, Dylan Walsh from Nip Tuck, and Charlie Weber, who Buffy fans may know. So and he's those guys are all great. They've been giving me gold in the dailies, so I can't wait for people to see it. So
it filmed in Bulgaria?
Yeah, well, it's this producer Stephen Paul. He's been doing a lot of his stuff out in Bulgaria at New Boyana Studios, which is the same place that did most of the Expendables movies. And yeah, I mean, it's obviously for reasons of economics, but they got a great studio out there. They got great stunt guys. Their crews are on point, really. But yeah, it's a lot largely for matters of economics, and there's a lot of that going on. I mean, and anytime Hallmark needs a fantasy castle scenario, they shoot in Romania, and
really?
The Brutalist from last year they shot the whole thing in Hungary, even though it's all set in Pennsylvania pretty much. So yeah, dollar just goes farther over there, so I'm not surprised to see that.
So now let's just take a quick detour. You're an experienced editor, but now you're also a professional writer.
Yeah. Until recently, I was a writer over at Hollywood North magazine for 6 years. I mostly did movie reviews. It was a nice side hustle, but I also do interviews and articles occasionally. Just doing commentary, like like when Blackberry came out. It was a movie I really appreciated. It's like, oh hey, it's a bit of a piece of Canadian history.
Blackberry
dramatized. It's like, and let's do more of that, because one big problem with Canadian cinema and film and TV that I often wrote about was we have so much Canadian content, but it's not actually explicitly set here. There's anyone who's been on the site TV Tropes knows of this one trope, Canada doesn't exist, which basically means like there's a lot of TV, especially, that'll it'll shoot in Vancouver, Toronto, and they won't explicitly say it's in the US, but they won't say it's in Canada either. So like Vancouver police will now just be the Metro Police. They won't specifically name locations, and it's all kind of vague. It's basically to kind of say, like, okay, we're not saying it's America, but we're not saying it's not America, because America just sells better. But
then Canadians will also love it if it doesn't explicitly like hammer out America.
Yeah, but yeah. So, and it's kind of a frustrating. So it's so many of these shows and movies are set in sort of a nondescript North America, and I've always found that frustrating. So I admire it when a producer has the balls to actually explicitly say it. Like I remember watching Blackberry in the theater, and just seeing them walk by a Shoppers Drug Mart gave me a bit of a rush, because it's like, okay, this is for real.
They go to a London Drugs.
Oh, hey, let's not get greedy here, okay? One drugstore per film, sir. But
yeah,
no, that. But yeah, I did a whole article about that. It's like, yes, more of this, please. And of course, the filmmaker Matt Johnson, he's probably my favorite Canadian director working today, just because he's of our generation. The guy's fearless, and he never really plays inside the CanCon box. He always he's always kind of pushing on it, going further. And I remember his most recent one, it's called Nirvana the Band the Movie, which was a adaptation of the show of a similar name. They premiered that in South by Southwest because they wanted to. It was a big, it'd be a bigger splash than even, say doing it Toronto, where the Canadian content, is featured, but sometimes gets buried in favor of the Hollywood stuff. And they said, yeah, Texas crowd ate it up. You know, I mean, despite the tension between the two countries, there's still a lot of love on the personal level, and I hope that doesn't go away.
I don't think it will. I'm a big fan of Henry Rollins. You must know who he is, the musician / spoken word artist.
Yeah.
And I remember he did a tour a while back when there was a lot of tension with Iran. And he went to Iran and he talked to like bakers and normal dudes and people. And it was like a huge amount of love. And like, it's like, because like at the end of the day, like all of this political crap, which we were talking about before we rolled cameras, but like, you know, at the end of the day, most people are just schmucks working jobs, trying to pay rent, you know, want to do a better job. Like it's not, it's, and that's the thing with, even with like Americans, many of my American friends are really upset with what's going on. Yeah. I'm just worried they're not doing enough, but they are, you know, it's like political, like governments fight each other. Yeah. People are people.
Yeah. I'll be watching the 2026 midterms very closely. Interesting.
But yeah, so you were a writer and an editor, but now I feel like in I've never played Pokemon, but I am aware of the metaphor of Pokemon's evolving. I feel like it's getting time for you to start thinking about evolving.
Yeah, well, I've been thinking a lot about this. Like I said, I've been a writer at Hollywood North until recently, and I was very happy there. There was a lot of benefits, getting to film festivals for free and everything. So yeah, that was, I didn't leave because I hated it or anything. I still love Nick. We talk all the time. But the reason I left was because, I realized, between my, my day job film editing and my side hustle and all the other personal shit, I was neglecting something I wanted to do. And that was, write and develop my own projects. Like the most I would do, and I was telling you about this earlier, was anytime I had an idea, whether it was, for a plot line or a character or hell, even the name of a place or something, I would just jot it down. And, if I was at home, I'd do it in a notebook because I'm old school analog like that. But if I was out and about, I didn't have that. I just type into the notes app on my phone. And, you do this for, 7, 8, 9 years, you amass quite a bit. And I figured, okay, now it's time to dig into this, sort through it and see like, okay, can I feasibly produce any of this stuff? And I went through it and, and there's a whole lot of, oh God, what was I thinking? But, there's also a lot of like, oh, okay, there could be something here. And sometimes it was even just a fragment of an idea. It's okay. I don't mind
sharing the gold.
I don't mind sharing it a little bit, That's all right. I'm a very giving person. So yeah, I have no idea where I would use this, but I had this idea for a character who, he's able to operate without a smartphone. And what I mean is like anytime someone calls him, there's always like a landline nearby. Like if he's at a restaurant, like it'd be like one of those old movies from the 40s, a waiter would come up to him with a rotary phone and yell like, "Yellow."
That's amazing.
Or if someone sends him a text, he'd get a telegram,
Right. That's hilarious.
Just
that's a great comedy.
Stuff like that. And like it would be like an absurdist comedy. I have no idea what the rest
I might steal that. No, that might be Lance Thunder. Lance might have that power.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll discuss my royalty rate after that.
But, I'm looking for writers.
But that's just one example. I got other stuff, but just fragments, that I could incorporate into a larger thing. But what I ended up doing is I ended up distilling it down into a list of 5 ideas that I could potentially do, right? Because I got bigger budget ideas, like I'm still mad about Dragon Ball Evolution, and I think Dragon Ball deserves a proper movie. But
it's valid, man. It's totally valid.
But, it's
or not even a movie, but like a Netflix series. Yeah. Like after seeing Avatar, I'm like, they could do Dragon Ball. They could totally do Dragon Ball.
No, 100%. Yeah, just a decent big budget adaptation. It really deserves it.
Yeah, you're not wrong, man. That would be amazing. Oh man, a live action Netflix series on Dragon Ball would be good.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. All right, we'll start working on our pitch.
Both of us.
Yeah, we'll start working on our pitch.
Yeah, just for getting the idea. We need royalties for that.
So now, okay, we're gonna ask some dirty personal questions here.
Bring it.
All right. So you edit with Avid professionally.
Yes.
I edit with Premiere professionally, which I don't love, and I'm trying to move to DaVinci.
Yeah.
In fact, I try to tell people now I edit with DaVinci, but what do you really edit with?
Again, mostly Avid just for my professional stuff. But if you're asking for, the more
quick and dirty
stuff, well, yeah, like for Order of the Black Eyes and other things like that, I use Final Cut Pro.
7 or X or whatever the fuck it's called.
They actually dropped the X a couple years ago, so it's just I know it's even more confusing now. It's just FCP.
Right.
No, I get it, man. I mean, they never got over that, wave of bad publicity for when they first premiered X, and for good reason. That it was not not camera ready, so to speak. I mean, there was too much stuff it couldn't do, and stuff that they've largely since fixed. And the worst thing I could say about it is for certain things like exporting an AAF for sound or whatever, you need an add-on, which I've gotten. But the nice thing is it's not a subscription. You only have to pay for it once, and and it's just intuitively it's great stuff. I mean, one thing about Avid is it's still kind of stuck in the old-fashioned film tape world, because that's the context in which it was created, and that's largely how the industry's operated on. But I mean, FCP is powerful. They've cut some big movies on that, like Focus with Will Smith, The Banker with Samuel L. Jackson, and Geostorm, and a bunch of other stuff. Not super successful movies, but that wasn't because of the NLE. That was more script and marketing. But it's capable.
I think a lot of people get caught up in the proper editor, because I remember being a Premiere guy and Final Cut, blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, and then Premiere got really expensive.
Yeah.
It's like
it adds up.
Yeah, like if I had to, I'm blessed I get to work for SLV Live, a streaming company. Briefly, a couple days, the guy runs it's an amazing human being, helps me with my film projects, but I get a free subscription to Adobe out of that, which is one of the perks, and it's great. However, if I had to pay for Adobe, I would not. Hands down. Like I have 20 years experience screwing around in Adobe, and I love it, but as a guy who owns a couple of Blackmagic cameras, I got a full version of DaVinci Resolve, and I know if I were to recruit you to a project, some crazy, let's go live on a farm for a month and do a horror movie, at least we know that like there's a free version of DaVinci if that has to be it. Whereas, but also, and like so many people listening who don't edit, you can edit a timeline in Final Cut. You can give me a cut, and then you can send me an XML file, a text like base file, and I can load that into any other editor and recreate your timeline.
Yep.
Like it's not. I don't actually like this whole like, oh, you do this, you use this program. It's more like it's like a sewing machine, really, because that's what like old editing was. It was like cutting clips and
yeah. I actually did that once on a flatbed. It's a whole different ballgame.
Oh my god, that must be stressful.
I enjoyed it at the time. I mean, not to go on too far of a tangent, but yeah, I used a flatbed Steenbeck back when I was living in Edmonton, and the local film and arts collective Fava, they ran this program for making a short film in black and white 16 millimeter. It was very old school.
Incredible.
Like, it was we used Bolex or Scoopik, depending on whether you're shooting sound. You could still get reel-to-reel tape at the time. This was back in 2008 or whatever. And it was like we're doing something in the 70s or the 80s or whatever. It was and then they sent the film off to Ontario or the US or wherever. We got it back, and they had a bunch of editing suites in their basement. I remember there was this space that they rented to this Jamaican steel drum band. So like half the time, you're hearing doot, 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 doot.
That's amazing.
While you're trying to.
So what you're saying is, if I need you to focus while you're editing, I need to like fire up some steel drum music a few rooms over.
Yeah. If you want to reignite my trauma, go ahead. I'm just kidding. Those guys were great. But yeah, no. The thing is, I mean, it's you really gotta. When you make an edit, you gotta commit to it a bit more, because if you do it and it doesn't work, then you gotta I gotta undo this and blah blah blah. It's harder, so it's a slower process for sure. But you're definitely more in the world of the film. I mean, one thing I have to guard against when I'm editing is I'm like anyone. I'm editing on my computer, and that computer's connected to the internet. And there's I sometimes have messaging apps going off, and I try to mute them for the most part, but I can't entirely, because sometimes the director's trying to get in touch with me.
Yeah.
Remember, I won't say who it was, but I remember one time I'm trying to work on notes, and the director's all like, ping, 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 ping. It's like, and I have to call him up and be all like, why don't we just get this all done in one go?
Yeah.
I can't focus like this.
Well, it's like, oh, clearly someone's having been visited by the good idea fairy.
Yeah. Yeah. But, no, he was a great guy, but you got to resist the urge to, go on social media and stuff. So, I mean, the nice thing about that is you're a little more focused on the work in front of you, but, at the same time, it's very limiting, because you can't try out, dissolves or whiteouts. Like I actually, the short film I did, Lens Flare, good luck finding it. I think it's on YouTube. I had this motif where I do these flashes to white, and you know, it's the easiest thing to do in any NLE, but on film, you kind of got to leave yourself a little bit of room, and then you got to take a grease pencil and you got to like draw these sort of triangles, and you got to like estimate the frames. But
what the hell?
And then you send it back to the lab, and they got to do it. So you don't know for sure how good it's going to look until they send it back. So
wait, can you explain that? You use a grease pencil to do what?
Okay. So
sorry, this is incredible. I've never done any of this.
Okay, well, yeah, I got to talk a bit more about the workflow then. So, like, when you're filming, there's the actual film that you have in the camera. That's the negative.
Yep.
You don't edit with that, because otherwise, you know,
that's terrible. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a crazy thing to do. You could damage something. So they develop the negative, but they also send you a work print, which is just a copy of the film, and do what you will, right? You know, if you fuck something up, you can make another copy.
Yeah.
They prefer that. They make more money that way.
Yeah, but I get you. It's not like not free, but it's
like
not
what you're sending back is like a work print, and they're just going to conform that to the negative. And while they're conforming it, they're gonna add that. They'll see the instructions on the film, like, oh, this guy wants a fade to white or a dissolve or whatever. So and they'll conform it. You know, hopefully they get it right, and hopefully turns out it's how you want. I mean, you know, of course, you know, in the days of studio filmmaking, they could afford to go back and forth. But yeah, I guess as an indie producer, it'd be a little nerve wracking.
That's truly shocking and terrifying. As an editor, I would never want to live in that world. I love the like freebie world of just like try this, try that, try this.
Well, that's why digital editing caught on so quick. I mean, it was like the earliest version of it was invented in 1971. There was the CMX 600, I believe. And it was this giant, like, you got to imagine, like, you know, a washer and a dryer together. And it's like, but it could only hold like five or 10 minutes of footage. So it was really just kind of for demo purposes. Like, oh, hey, can you imagine what we could do someday?
Well, scene by scene. I mean, at the end of the day, that's also actually, even when I talk to people, you focus on the scene.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and George Lucas took it a little further with the edit droid, which went off Laserdisc.
Wait, he called it a droid?
Edit droid, yeah. Look it up. It's
George Lucas, I'm disappointed in you. You really need to get your eye like
Oh, well, hey, you know what, but you know, the company behind Avid, they bought the rights to the technology, and that's how they developed Media Composer.
That's incredible.
You know, credit where credit's due. And you know, once they because the problem was you kind of had to work off before there was a hard drive space. You had to work off this huge bank of like tapes and Laserdiscs, which was you know, expensive. It was a bit of a barrier to entry. But once hard drive space got good enough, you know, in like about 93 or so, like yeah, you just you look at the amount of movies that are edited on film, the amount of the movies that are edited digitally, and like it like flips completely between like 93 and 96, and then there's just no going back. And yeah, it's for that reason, because like, oh my god, I could try some more stuff, you know. And they got braver, they got a little more manic, and yeah, that's where we're at. And
I mean, I guess, but also I know I've watched, I believe it was by Every Frame's a Painting, but I watched one on how like they showed how Lord of the Rings is better than the Rings of Power.
Yeah.
And like, I wonder what they were using to edit Lord of the Rings with. They must have been using digital technology.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that was Avid for sure.
But they must have also still had a lot of people who had learned the old ways.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
the old magic.
I mean, I'll be honest. I've never seen Rings of Power, so I can't comment on that directly. But I'd imagine might be a similar thing that happened with The Hobbit. Like one of the great things about Lord of the Rings is that it was almost the perfect balance between, you know, practical and digital filmmaking. Yeah. You know, like if they could do it for real, if they could actually make an orc, they'd do it. And one thing a lot of people don't realize is that trilogy has a lot of practical miniatures.
Yes,
but like they're giant miniatures.
They're bigatures or whatever. Yeah,
bigatures. That's literally what they call them. But you know, it does lend a certain amount of verisimilitude to it. And like by the time, you know, Peter Jackson got around doing The Hobbit, like, you know, he leaned a lot more on CGI, which, you know, unfortunately did take away from that. I mean, that trilogy had other problems. I mean, the Hobbit does not need to be a trilogy, for God's sake.
Well, I don't know if you saw online, but I actually had a anti-Valentine's Day party this year.
Yeah.
And it was the eat an entire cake to yourself day party, because we're not, you know, but it was a lot of fun because it was a Hobbit party, and I found the fans have edited the 3 Hobbit movies down into one movie.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen it?
I've heard there's like multiple versions of that.
There are. No. I would Google it. Like as a film person, everybody who came out of that party where I downloaded the best one. I just Googled like, what's the best one of them? Because you're right, there are multiple. I Googled the best one. It's like Maple Story or whatever. And it's a mix of like, what is the best to the book, but also not just like what is best of just best, not just the book. And everybody walked out of that party saying that 3.5 hour cut of The Hobbit was exciting, short, the best version they've seen of The Hobbit. And I have to admit, like, okay, I'd had a few drinks and I had a lot of cake, but like it was incredible because the fans had cut it down to one movie and it's so action packed.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I'll have to look that up.
I was kind of I remember watching it like once while I was doing some other projects. I hadn't paid full attention to it, but like they went out of their way to download the soundtracks of the movies to use that to cut from scene to scene, so you can't tell when they cut shit. And
no, the good ones are very polished.
And like I remember even like I haven't watched I've watched a couple episodes of Rings of Power, but like I watched this video that compared it, and it's this really interesting thing where it doesn't really matter how clean it looks, because that's the thing, is the Rings of Power looks really clean, and then they show you these frames from Lord of the Rings that they're like dirty, and there's like
there's a little grit on it.
Well, and it's but like another way is like noise. There's noise in it, like it's not
like grain, really, because they did shoot Lord of the Rings trilogy on film, because mostly because they had to. Digital wasn't ready for prime time yet, but it's beautiful.
It's the grit and the dirt and
texture.
Yes. And like even now, like I watch that and like I'm self-conscious. We're trying to shoot this like Lance Thunder fantasy project on Blackmagics. We don't have access to Red. We don't have access to RE, mostly because I don't want to lock myself into that, and then I can't afford to rent that for a makeup shoot day. And we've already had like a one makeup shoot day where it was just like 3 hours long with one actor. And if I didn't own the cameras, we wouldn't have been able to do it. But I know that I can throw a bunch of like with Dehancer in DaVinci Resolve, like I can throw a bunch of garbage and grit at it and it'll look great.
Oh yeah, for real. I'm a huge fan of the film look, whether it's achieved with actual film or even digitally. Like there was a movie Alexander Payne did recently, the Holdovers with Paul Giamatti. Have you seen that?
What's that?
Fucking amazing. You got to see that. It's
Holdover. What's it about?
The Holdovers. Okay, it's about Paul Giamatti plays this teacher at a prestigious boys' school, and he's a bit of a misanthrope. He doesn't like anybody, so he doesn't really have family to go home to Christmas to. So if there's any boys who can't go home for Christmas, he always volunteers to be or is roped into, I can't remember, to sort of looking after them, right? And and there's a core group of them, and there's this one in particular who's kind of abandoned by his mom for Christmas because she's fucked off to Europe with her new husband or whatever, and they end up kind of bonding, right? It's got a very Hal Ashby feel to it, something like Harold and Maude, or even the Last Detail, something like that. But no, it's just a beautiful movie. It's very well acted, very well shot. But just to get to the point, it's set in 1970, and it actually very much looks like a film that was shot in that period, and I thought for sure it was shot on film, but they were talking about it and they said no, it was digital, but we just did the we lit with that mind, and also just put the right filters on it, and even just added a little bit of jitter, and it's and if you didn't know the actors, you'd almost think it was a 70s film. It's just, I don't know, it's just something kind of warm about that.
Yeah, no, we played around. So this silly thing I'm doing, Lance Thunder, we shot a test shoot in the fall, and it was fun because like we shot the documentary part like super clean Sigma art lens, like someone talking to this table in fact, and then we added some like VHS stuff to make it look like a 90s thing, but then we wanted the fantasy stuff to look like 1980s film fantasy, so I shot with like 80s Soviet lenses, and then we slapped some like black Promis filters on it. We double stacked it too, so we had two of them, and then we were shining lights on the actors like metal bits, like the armor, so that they would reflect and bloom. And in screen around and post, we could totally, but also like in looking at pixel peaking, the image was horrendous. Like we'd lost so much detail, nothing was in focus, but it didn't matter because it worked with the vibe.
And sometimes that's all you need.
So let's like you've established you're a writer and an editor. If I happen to secretly, and I'm not, I wish, secretly a Bitcoin bro, and I had billions of dollars, like, and I was like, dude, like, let's fund your, like, what would you want to write? Like genre, tell me your dream project without giving away the goodies.
I don't know about your Bitcoin, but my Bitcoin's not doing well.
Fuck. Oh my God, man. No, I was so happy a month ago.
Oh man. Like you want me to pitch one of the things I have?
Pitch me a movie. Like if you can, and remember too, like you've helped a lot of buddies on film.
Okay.
Like I have a whole camera and lighting and sound package. So
okay.
Pitch me.
All right. Yeah, I narrowed it down to 5. Which one? Okay. Well,
hold on. While you pitch, I'm going to steal some of your beer because you ain't drinking as fast as me.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm a raging alcoholic. I'm a raging alcoholic. This interrogation's hard.
Okay.
Answer me.
Uh-oh. Okay, I think there's a little left in here. I'm taking.
Do it.
Clearly, I have to drink fast.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. A couple of milliliters.
This is Storm Brewing, my favorite brewery who, like, one day I'll have the courage to ask for funding.
Yeah.
Or at least free beer. All right, yeah. So, like, what would you be your dream to be, like, a creative force on?
Okay. Okay, since I might have an actual budget behind this, since you're a Bitcoin billionaire,
I'm a bit
okay, I'll lean to one of the more expensive ideas. One thing I've wanted to do is I've wanted to do a sort of American Graffiti type movie, but set at a bike rave. Like, you familiar with these?
I've seen like Facebook events.
Yeah, okay. I actually went to one a number of years ago, and it was like it was freaking amazing. Is that where
the drug abuse started?
No. That happened. That happened once I started dating. I'm just kidding. I love you. I'm in trouble. Okay, but no, it was this was like 10 years ago or something. But yeah, it was all these bikes met in Woodland Park, and I ride a bike myself. Mostly for exercise, partly for fun, and also to get around. It's very cheap. But yeah, everyone kind of gathered. Everyone had like these LEDs or
lights.
Yeah, just different types of lights. I'm trying to remember like what's those ones you kind of like light sticks you kind of crack, and they
I don't even know what they're called.
Phosphorescent type, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
light sticks, yeah, just stuff like that. And there were like hundreds of these people. It was insane, and just we kind of followed a route, but like there's a certain point you kind of take over the road, and it was insane. And this one I went to was was very informal. I mean, that years later they did an official city sanctioned one, Bike the Night, which I did a video on. Bike the Night 2019. Look it up on YouTube. But yeah, that was a pretty magical night. There was a lot of different kind of people there, and for those who haven't seen American Graffiti, it just kind of takes place over this one night, in early 1960s California, during a time when gas was cheap, and all the local teens would kind of take their cars out and just kind of cruise around, looking for chicks and stuff. But that movie's just kind of about these friends, they've just graduated high school and they're about to go off in different directions, some are going to college, some are just hanging around. And I kind of wanted to do,
sorry.
I wanted to do something like that, but just try to capture, kind of the angst, Gen Y and Gen Z and eventually Gen Alpha will probably be feeling, just, maybe they've, maybe growing up in a city like Vancouver, but they can't.
Oh, I'm dying.
Bless you.
Yeah, no, it's the allergies. What's up?
He's allergic to my idea, folks. He hates.
Yeah, no, I know. I need it to be an animated movie.
No, I swear to God, my stars have a bunch of Instagram followers. It's gonna be a hit.
Oh yeah, no.
But yeah, and it's it's not fully fleshed out yet. But it would be kind of an ensemble piece, and it'd be a bunch of extras, lots of bikes, lots of production design, and I'd want to actually set it in Vancouver during a summer night or something, and that's one idea I'm developing that would actually need some money behind it.
I'm a Bitcoin bro, and I'm gonna be a dickhead, and I'm gonna say I need it to be with like supernatural elements. Tell me how you could add some supernatural elements to it.
Okay, well, all I just described is just the first act, because the twist is one of them's a warlock who is about to bring on climate change early and raise the sea level and plunge Vancouver and its corrupt West Coast billionaire culture into the depths of the sea, and they still think there's a spirit worth fighting for. So they have to, you know, these people from different backgrounds have to team up to take on this guy.
This is exactly the movie I need in my life.
Okay, I literally just came up with that part.
I'll give you $100 million to film it.
Excellent. All right, we got a deal. I'm holding you to that.
It's fair.
Stuff said while drinking on a podcast is a written contract.
It is. No, I'm pretty sure
it's a binding contract. Yeah, what it is. Yeah. All right. I mean, that's just one. I do have, you know, but most of the ideas I narrowed down to, they're, you know, they're more intimate stuff that I could potentially do on a lower budget.
So now you write a lot of you write a lot of movie reviews and things. I'm horror because I've been talking to a friend about horror movies a lot lately. But like you write a lot of movie reviews. What are some good movies that have come out lately that me as a heathen who watches a lot of anime and not much else, what should I be watching?
Oh, as an anime heathen, what would I recommend?
No, as someone who doesn't like Heretic. I'm assuming Heretic's a good one.
You know, I was kind of disappointed by Heretic, to be honest with you. Did you see it?
I did. No, a girl took me on a date and we shot tequila in the back of the movie theater like we were teenagers. It was incredible.
Yeah,
I was really drunk when I saw it.
Okay, well, I was sober, and I'll tell you, the trailer was incredible. It really got me pumped, and Hugh Grant is great in it. But like, I mean, I feel like I was promised a movie where, you know, they're gonna. I mean, can we spoil it? It's been out.
Yeah.
We can spoil it. Yeah, we can spoil it. Fuck it. I feel like I was promised a movie where, you know, these two Mormon missionaries are gonna get, you know, trapped in an elaborate, you know, basement funhouse of horrors, and it's really not that. It's just like he, you know, like the setup's great, but he rambles on for a long time, and eventually we get to this dungeon where there's this, you know, Messiah woman who's supposed to, you know, die and come back to life, and it really just started to lose me at one point. But just going off of that, the actress who is one of the actresses in that, Sophie Thatcher, I think her name is. She did this other movie that I really liked, Companion. Have you seen that one?
No, that's about the sex doll, isn't it?
Spoiler alert. You know, the thing about Companion is it's a lot better if you go in not knowing anything about it. Like, there's two trailers. There was one that just kind of hinted at this stuff, and there was one that gave it away. I only saw the teaser, so when I went in, I didn't know what it was about at all, and it was a welcome twist. But no, it's just a really solid sci-fi horror, you know, with touches of Black Mirror. It's very well acted. It's very well done. It's one of the few movies I've gone back to the theater to see more than once. So if I could recommend any movie from 2025, I would.
I would actually like to live in a world where those trailers don't exist. Mm-hmm. Like the ones that ruin everything.
Yeah, you know, I heard like here's what happened there. So they did do a teaser trailer. Like you can go on YouTube and watch the trailers side by side. The teaser does not give it away. Mm-hmm. That's the one I saw. And also, you know, sometimes you're in the movie theater, you know, and you're still talking to your date or whatever, and you're only kind of half paying attention. But you know, like I remember they had the scene, you know, where her arms over the candle, right? You know, and I didn't know she was a robot at that point. I thought like, oh, what's going on here? It's like, is she just like really that fucking tough? She could do that.
I've dated some women like that.
Yeah, touche. But yeah, it's that kind of stuck in my head, and like I didn't look up anything about it because I'd heard some. One more, it trickled down to me that's like, oh, you got to go into this movie not knowing anything. So I'm like, okay, I won't deliberately look up any more trailers or anything. And I think the experience was all the better for that because I went in not knowing the big reveal. I mean, you can't really call it too much of a twist because like it happens in the first act, but no, still pretty cool. Like watching it the second time, knowing that you can kind of see them sort of planting the seeds in there, and it's like, okay, I see what you did there. But yeah, like the reason they did a trailer that was more revealing, I heard, was they apparently felt they weren't getting enough engagement with the first trailer. And it's just, yeah, it was, you know, it's a marketing decision. Like, and one I'm sure the filmmakers disagreed with, but you know, it's Warner Brothers, and they're all like, oh, hey man, we gotta do something here. So.
Well, I think movie going's decreased a lot. Like I've been reading some really interesting stuff about like the younger generation and YouTube and stuff like that. Like I'm upset that there isn't enough TV shows, but I'm also realizing that like a lot more people watch YouTube.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll admit I'm not on TikTok because I don't want to be spied on by China or whatever. But
TikTok, that's lame.
But you know, I mean, hey, I'm on Instagram and YouTube and stuff. I see a lot of the I see a lot of stuff, and yeah, some of my favorite short form content are like by guys like Matt and Justice, right? If you should look them up. They're this duo out in LA, and all they do is comedy skits. The funny thing is, it is a little lowbrow and kind of in the way that the Three Stooges were, just with less slapstick. Like you can kind of know where the joke's going, but just the way they do it is just it still makes you laugh, makes you laugh in a way. And like I can show you one after that, or Jamie, pull it up. Do we have a Jamie?
Oh, I don't have a Jamie yet. No. I'm working on it.
All right. Yeah, you got to get the subscribers up, bud. Get a producer in here, but yeah, it's just short content like that. I mean, like most of their stuff, like it's not like a classic YouTube video. It's like shorts, stuff you find just like scrolling through, and it's 30 to 60 seconds, and it's funny stuff, and that's I think that's definitely what's capturing, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, to a point. Although the other thing that's been getting them in the theaters lately is Minecraft. Have you seen that one yet?
I have seen trailers and read reviews, and
we got to talk about this because I want to talk about it from the perspective of a guy who's never played the game.
Okay, I played the game. I played the game back like 10 years ago when it was new, and it was like, oh, there's some guy who makes this thing, and it's $15. Yeah.
Okay, like I went into this not like I knew there was a game called Minecraft that involved building. That's it. I didn't even know who Steve was.
Right. I don't know who Steve is.
And my girlfriend Fiona and I, hi honey, we go out to the movies a lot. And yeah,
you guys have the subscriptions.
I have Cineclub, so yeah,
I thought about it.
Save a lot of money. But yeah, we went out opening weekend. I think it was Sunday, and something interesting happened. Like we were in there, and I swear to God, the second the Warner Brothers logo came up, people just started applauding, which I've never seen before. Like except maybe when Star Wars Force Awakens came out, because that was
Lucasfilms,
yeah, because that was a big deal. But I'd never seen this, for a regular movie before. And like every time they hit on a bit of fan service, like I am Steve, everyone's just like, woo, yeah, and all this other stuff that I know reference to, like the pig with the crown or the the chicken scene or whatever. Like it was just, they go nuts. And I've been hearing, like in the US and other parts of Canada, this kind of this viral TikTok trend where people just going more and more crazy. They'll start throwing stuff at the screen, and like cops have been called to the theater a couple times. Just of all the shenanigans. But yeah, I was just kind of fascinated by that because I don't think people are there necessarily for because they're big Jack Black or Jason Momoa fans. They're just there to experience this sort of this cultural moment, really. And this, I've never seen a film become a cult film on its opening weekend. That was kind of wild.
I think it's interesting because the game's been out for like 10 years now.
Yep.
More than 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I remember, like every time, I remember a time when anytime Hollywood would do a film based on a video game, it would tank, like it's like, oh, they're doing a video game adaptation. Movie? Yeah. Well, if you want to go that far back, yeah, there's that, but it's like, I remember Doom didn't do that well. Assassin's Creed kind of bombed. There's a whole line of this, and I can't pinpoint when it turned around, but like I remember like when the Super Mario Brothers like animated movie came out, and this is a game I've actually played, right? So I was actually familiar with the source material, and I remember sitting through it and going like, huh. It's okay, but it's nothing special. Like I wasn't as enamored with it as some people were. Like even Jack Black doing the Peaches song, it's like it's not that funny, but okay. But I think just the fact that they didn't fuck it up too bad just meant so much to them. Because if you compare it to what they did in 1993 or whatever, it's like, oh, it's so much better. So,
and I feel like that's the thing with the video game movies is like so many of them were so bad that even just something that isn't offensive.
Yeah, just not fucking up too bad is kind of the bar, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about Avatar: Last Airbender earlier, and you remember the live action movie, right? Right? Like,
unfortunately, yeah.
I what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, like, dude, we all expected an Asian lead. Why is he white? I don't understand.
Well, and if you remember, like, if you look at the background, like okay, like the Northern Water Tribe, right? Like the extras, they're all like, they're all indigenous or Inuit or what. Whatever, because that's the inspiration, but the core characters are all white for some reason, and like even back then, I was like, why?
I think the thing too is it's like doubly upsetting because it's like it's not right, and then you're like, do you think I'm so lame that I can't handle a lead that isn't my race? Like, dude, I've been watching foreign films my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah, and why was the Fire Nation Indian all of a sudden? I mean, they're supposed to be Imperial Japanese, for God's sake. I mean, that was the point.
I know.
That's what it is. I mean, the water tribes are Inuit. The Earth Kingdom, is China basically, and the air nomads are kind of Indian / Buddhist. Tibetan monks essentially, and yeah, I know. I remember there was like an Indian guy guru at one point in the series, so I figured there was a bit of crossover, and the Fire Nation is supposed to be Imperial Japan,
and if we're really gonna switch things up and whitewash it, then the Fire Nation could be both England and America.
Yeah, I mean Hiroyuki Sanada was right there, man. I mean, what the.
Yeah, no,
and the director is Indian himself too, so I wanted to.
I didn't understand. Well, I mean, I knew what it was, and it was kind of really unfortunate and sad because like that could have been a great movie. They could have cast English people as the Fire Tribe. Or
I will say two nice things: the production design and the score were both amazing. So yeah, just listen to the soundtrack and look at pictures of the costumes. Don't watch the actual movie. It'll destroy you from the inside.
So you do watch a lot of movies?
Yeah, I try to.
What's give me like some, and I don't want to say top because people are like, oh, I don't know, but like give me like a couple good movies that have come out in the last 6 months that are really like people should see.
Well, I mean, we did Companion already, so that's
Companion.
That's a big one. Last 6 months. Oh gosh.
Or a year, just like some stuff. You're a guy who watches movies.
Last year. Can we do TV as well?
Whatever you want.
Okay, because we were just talking about Japan there. I do want to spin off into Shogun a bit, which it's probably one of the best pieces of content to come out of Vancouver or anywhere in a while. It's just
I haven't watched Shogun.
Dude, it's amazing. Seriously.
Okay.
It's so it's so well done, and you do. It is, and here's the thing: it is a show. It is a show for adults, so you do have to take it seriously. You do have to pay attention, but it's just like I remember the lead actress, and I cannot remember her name. I'm sorry, but she was also in Monarch, and I remember not liking her in that one. I mean, Monarch was, it's like that. That was a show that it was good every time Kurt Russell was on screen, but then it was just kind of like it was the most mixed show I've ever seen in my life. Anna Sawai, I think that's her name, and she's like amazing in this one. It's just amazing what a great script and decent direction can do, right? Do for an actor and just for material. So yeah, Shogun, high recommendation.
Anything else?
No, everything else is crap.
I'm hitting the bar tonight, so I need to have some hey babe, we should hang out at my place. I'll cook you dinner and we'll watch Shogun.
How long do I need to keep Rob occupied?
Trying to milk you for stuff that makes me look smart and classy.
How long does he need to Netflix and chill for?
Yes, a lot.
Okay. Oh man, award season just happened. What else did I like?
Yeah, but fuck awards. They don't know what they're talking about.
They do and they don't. There's stuff okay, you got something like A Complete Unknown. It's okay, but that's all it is. It's it's a feelings I kind of feel like they made this movie just as Oscar bait essentially, and it's not bad, but it's not oh my god, you got to see.
You're talking about Nora, aren't you?
Well, I started off talking about A Complete Unknown. Well, we pivoted that. No, you know what? The problem with Nora was it's too fucking long. That movie's 2.5 hours, and so much of it is just them searching for this damn Russian kid. And that's a whole movie by itself. And I swear to God, if they'd cut at least half an hour off of that, made it a bit tighter, it would have been a lot better. Because the main girl, Mikey Madison, she's great. She's great. She really earned the Oscar on that one. But yeah, I can't quite wholeheartedly recommend it, unfortunately, just because. Well, it's part of the problem might be because the director was also editor on that, and I think there's a tendency not to want to kill your darlings on that. I think it really could have benefited from another editorial voice, but
like yours,
like me, yeah, Sean Baker, I'm right here, buddy.
So I will say the one series I watched recently, which is older, Swamp Thing by James Wan.
Oh yeah.
Really fun series, DC universe, kind of horror themed, and it's heartbreaking though at the end because there's no sequel, and it's not like they totally left it on a cliffhanger, but it was also that just got the ball rolling.
Oh, actually, I just thought of I'll keep that in mind. I just have another movie. It's just over a year ago, but I don't think this is going to help you with your date. It's just fucking fun to watch. The Beekeeper with Jason Statham. Are you familiar with that?
I love Jason Statham, and I've heard many of his movies are all the same, but also still good.
Well, but there's two things I like about that. Like, one, it's him going after, like phone scam people, which is like a whole phone scam call center, which is just, it's so like emotionally satisfying to see.
Oh yeah, I don't answer my phone anymore.
I know. They have ruined phone calls for me because unless it's one of my contacts, I don't pick up anymore because it's
I don't.
Because if it's important, they'll leave a voicemail.
Well, like I'll also like I have to tell them, they'll ring. Oh, we're from TELUS, blah blah blah. We're gonna sell you this phone. It's like I don't buy a single thing on my phone, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, sorry, man.
Yeah,
like so Beekeeper. Okay,
so like, and that's kind of like the first half, just him, him going there, kicking ass, taking names. Cause like what happens in the movie is, there's, he's just a retired special forces guy. And he's a humble beekeeper now. He just wants to be left alone. But his only friend in the world is driven to suicide because she has all her money stolen from her. Cause like she's the head of a charity and she can't live with herself after she gets tricked like that.
That's
so
horrible.
That activates him and he just goes scorched earth on these guys. But, of course, they can't leave it alone, which leads to the rest of the movie. But the the other thing I like about it is the guy, the Bitcoin billionaire, like in charge of this whole thing. He is so transparently a Hunter Biden parody that
I love it.
And I've kind of given away a thing because he literally is the president's son in that.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And this was kind of last year, before the election, before Biden had dropped out. So like I couldn't believe Hollywood was doing something like that. It's
that's
like,
awesome.
That's ballsy. And like the director David Ayer, he kind of tried to deflect from that, but it's like, fuck off, buddy. We know what you're doing. And I respect the hell out of you for it, by the way. It's ballsy, but
I love it.
But no, I just again, just on a popcorn, like dumb action movie level, I love that so much. So and actually the final fight Jason Statham has is brutal. Like it's action's a tough thing because I see so many movies, just like overcut or with crappy choreography with people who can't fight, but like Jason Statham actually can, and it's pretty well done. So yeah, I'll put that on there. But I feel like I need one more smart movie for you. And what can I put on there? I'm not going to make you sit through The Brutalist because it's 3.5 hours.
Please don't do that to me.
Although credit to
it's a great one to put on, and then you'll make out with yeah.
But also seriously, credit to Brady Corbet for actually putting an intermission in that movie. Like,
oh my God, really?
Like, please Hollywood, if your movies are going to be over 3 hours, just do that because and the theaters will appreciate it. They'll sell more popcorn and stuff, and it gives us all a chance to go to the bathroom and just kind of, it feels nice to have a halftime. So I hope that catches on.
I love it.
I really do. But yeah, I won't make you sit through that. Amelia Perez, like that was weird because like it started off, all the critics really loved it, but then like all of Mexico and most of the trans community like hated it. Like we went to an Oscar party, Fiona and I. We went to one at the Hollywood Theater, which was it was hosted by drag queens, and they actively encouraged the audience to boo Amelia Perez every time it was mentioned.
What? Okay.
No, the LGBTQ community hates it. It's insane.
Well, I ain't watching it then.
So I know, but I found it fascinating because like it started off like all the film fest for the critics were like, oh, it's so good, and I know several people who sung its praises, but then these two other communities were like, no, it sucks because it's a movie by a French director set in Mexico, but it's shot in Spain, and there's really only like one Mexican actor in it. So
that's unpleasant.
I think that was another thing, and I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole in that one. I just thought that film's sort of reputational journey was kind of fascinating, especially once the lead actress kind of turned out she was like, she managed to piss everyone off with all her tweets over the years.
Social media is an interesting beast because I remember a world where like actors were not, you don't have to.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think some of the publicists got to take some of their Twitter accounts away from them, honestly.
Oh no, yeah, like I remember
really step in it.
I mean, I remember a world where actors, you didn't have to like listen to every one of their momentary thoughts, and it's like, they're just normal people. And honestly, if you spend that much time focusing on acting, you might not be the best person to talk about politics.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky thing because, I mean, there's still people. There's still a lot to, have opinions and weigh in on stuff, but like it's a fine line, you know. And sometimes you can't win because like if you watch the Oscars this year, you know, you'll notice I think they were all told to tone it down a bit, like, you know, just either don't say anything or just keep it to a minimum, and they did by and large. But I heard this editorial in the Globe and Mail where this one editorialist was like, "This was a platform. This was an opportunity to raise your voice," and it's like, you got to read the room on this one.
Well, I find it's like I am well connected enough to have enough hot friends to know that like a lot of attractive people are told they're very smart by people who want to sleep with them, men and women, and that gives them a very grossly inflated view of their opinion on things.
Just a tad.
Anyway, Shaun, it has been amazing. I'm really cut from this beer we got from Storm Brewing. It's been great, and I want to get you back on because you have so many detailed opinions about movies.
Yeah, I could go for another few pints, honestly. But
yeah, no, it's great. We should wait a couple months and then we can talk about the latest set of movies. But it's been a pleasure to have you on. However, like somebody's watching this is probably in desperate need of a good editor.
Okay.
Where do they find you?
Okay, well, I mean, you can look at my IMDb first of all. If you're an IMDb pro, my contact's on there. But other than that, I'm also on Instagram, Lang on Film, LANGONFILM. Always.
We'll put the links in the comments.
Yep, of course. Yeah, that's I don't like giving my email out over the air. So
don't. Yeah, no, I delete that part.
So, but yeah, that's probably the best way to reach me at this point.
Yeah, no, Instagram's probably.
I always check my requests. So,
yep, it's mostly dick pics from me, but you know, whatever.
I appreciate dick pics. No, cut that out.
Oh my God, no, I'm leaving that in. Oh, that would be terrible.
Oh, no.
I'm totally leaving that in. But no, Shaun, thank you so much, and like also thank you for your help on my film projects. And then like in a world where film work is rough, I'm so happy to know you're working, man. Like
I'm happy to be working. Like just to be brief. I mean, like if I wasn't fortunate enough to know Tony and the producer Stephen Paul and have a working relationship with them, I might not be working right now, you know, just because there's just not enough to go around. And yeah, man, a lot of it's just established relationships and who you know. And I'm trying to get more established with more producers and more post supervisors out there. But yeah, it is tough.
Well, maybe like Tony, you will be directing in the next few years, huh?
Yeah, okay.
Or writing or whatever.
I'll at least write something, maybe direct it. We'll see.
You can borrow my camera, sound, and light package, man. Thank you for joining me on Between Two Pints. Shaun, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.